who's in Harare for an update. Shingai, once again, good afternoon. This started out slowly from what we can gather, but it did gain momentum, spreading to various commercial spots. But what can you tell us about the situation in Zimbabwe today?
Good afternoon to you, Natasha. Well, the situation is back to normal across most of the country. The calls for the national stay away were essentially for just one day. And so this morning the combis were moving freely, public transport was back on the road, businesses had opened, and the public were just going about their general chores. But what the police have said is that they have arrested about 35 people as a result of some of the isolated disturbances that happened yesterday. They've arrested 19 people in Harare, at least one person in Bulawayo who allegedly had some homemade petrol bombs in his possession. In Victoria Falls, 17 people were arrested, including, as police say, one Belgian national, and they were arrested for protesting and holding up placards that enough is enough. But ZANU-PF has responded to these stayaways. It believes that there's a hidden hand, that this is not just ordinary people protesting, but it says that this is a regime change agenda by the opposition and by the West.
All right, social media activists have played an active role in these protests, or that's what reports say. Is this true? Absolutely.
This whole stay away was mobilized largely through social media, on WhatsApp as well as Facebook and Twitter. People have been tweeting and retweeting and forwarding the messages, but in some cases it's difficult to know where the messages originated, because at one point there were messages on WhatsApp threatening people and saying that they would destroy properties of those who defied the order to stay away. But generally, as police say, the situation was calm, apart from the tire burning and the stones that were in the road and some of the other incidences that it mentioned. So really, social media has played a huge part in terms of mobilizing people, not just in Zimbabwe, but also in South Africa, where we saw certain Zimbabwean groups also join in with protests.
All right, Shingai, there are also unconfirmed reports that the Politburo is planning to meet to discuss this. Can you confirm this, and what kind of handle does the government have on what's been happening?
Well, the Politburo met yesterday, which was yesterday, on which was Wednesday, and that was a scheduled meeting, and they discussed a range of other issues that are beleaguering the party in terms of firing executive members, but they also did discuss this particular issue, and the response that they had was that this is a regime change agenda, and that this was just illegal attempts by people to take over power. So there really hasn't been any recognition from the government as yet that this is just a movement by ordinary people, and that these are just ordinary Zimbabweans speaking out about the suffering that they're going through.
All right, Shingai, how connected is this to what we've been seeing at the Bayridge border post recently?
It's absolutely connected, because some of the issues that the Zimbabweans were protesting about yesterday are the very same issues at the Bayridge border post. For example, the import restrictions and on certain basic goods. That was one of the issues that people are really upset about, because they say it affects the ordinary Zimbabwean who's unemployed and has to survive by going to South Africa, buying some of these basic goods and coming back in and selling them. And they say that they've been having problems trying to acquire import licenses at the border to bring these in. They say it's a livelihood issue. And so all of these issues, whether it's protests earlier on at the beginning of last month about the national pledge, about the bond notes, all of these issues are just connected in the sense that Zimbabweans are saying that they are disenchanted and they don't like what's happening. They don't like the decisions that the government are making.
All right, Shingai, thank you very much for that update. We'll leave it there. Our correspondent in Harare, Shingai Nyoka.